Welcome to Mommy Space. My name is Brianna Bernhard, your hostess, and I am a new mom. I selfishly created this podcast to get some advice and inspiration from the moms in my community who are doing amazing things while raising their families. I've realized motherhood is hard, but knowing I'm not alone in this call makes all the difference, and I hope you feel refreshed as you listen. Welcome to the tribe. Welcome to Mommy Space. This is Bree, and today I am with the lovely Sydney Ballard. Sydney, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
For those of you who don't know Sydney, she is a mama of 3 now, and she owns her own business from scratch baked goods. Is, I would say, an incredible artist as far as your work goes. I'm obsessed. But we got connected through a mutual friend, and I actually got to interview Sydney for the Thread the Future podcast. And actually, you were ready to pop with your third when we had that in-person conversation, which was awesome because I got some muffins in that deal. But I'm so excited to talk to you today and hear about your journey into motherhood now that I've gone through some of that and just to hear from that perspective. So, yeah.
I'm so happy to be here. So thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Well, before we kind of dive in and talk about some of your business and motherhood and all that good stuff, could you just tell our audience a little bit about yourself, where you guys are located, a little bit about family life and all that good stuff?
Sure, yeah. Let's see, me and my husband are coming up on 6 years of marriage now, and we have 3 kids. Sequoia, who is turning 5 this week. It blows my mind. I have a 5-year-old. Like, I just can't. I don't know how that happened. I have Griffin, who just turned 3 last month, and Scarlett, who is 7 months now. So we got our hands full. We've got a busy household, running around with 3 children, and I stay home with them and run my own business, bakery, in-house bakery from scratch baked goods, and we do custom cakes and cupcakes and weddings and special events and anything you can think of, really.
It's so awesome.
We live here in Anaheim, California, and that's kind of the gist of us right now.
Sweet. Yes, perfect. Well, I'd like to ask you, kind of starting out, the story of your journey into motherhood.
Sure.
So, like, when did you guys plan on having kids when you did? What was that like as far as, did you plan for your third? Like, all of that stuff. Just kind of share a little bit about that story and maybe even kind of like where your business got, like, ingrained or whatever into that story.
Well, Aaron and I, we had a whirlwind of a time. We met and through church. I met him through church, and I knew the very first day that he was my husband.
Oh my gosh.
We were in the church sanctuary, and it was during worship, and we had met like 5 minutes before that. I have worked with his brother, and I look at this guy and I'm like, oh my gosh, who the heck is that? Like, totally handsome. I was like knocked off my feet. I was so nervous around him. I totally forgot his name. And had excused myself and grabbed a cup of coffee. And then in worship, I heard God speak to me and said, "This is your husband if you are patient." And I was like, okay, sure, here we go.
Oh my gosh.
We got to know each other through Bible study, and all the other church events going around. I was the evangelical pastor at that time and did a lot of outreaches, and so he would come to them, and we just really got to know each other on a friendship level. And 9 months later, he finally asked me out,
Oh
and
my,
I did not.
wow, that took a while.
A while. Well, I did not give him any sort of sign that
Oh,
I was interested. I
yeah.
wanted it to come directly from him. If this was going to
Mm,
be from God, I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not starting this.
nice.
I'm not showing any sign of interest. So he
Mm-hmm.
finally got the balls and asked me out. And we dated for a year, and um we got pregnant with Sequoia, and then we got married, and
Mm,
on our wedding day we did the whole gender reveal, and we
no
had
way.
the balloons coming out of the big
Oh
box, and our whole entire wedding party was
my
able
gosh.
to celebrate and share with us that we were having our first girl, and we were
Wow.
so excited and so thrilled.
Oh.
And that's how our journey kind of began. And during that time, I was working in a jewelry store. I was, um, before I got pregnant, I was doing the 9 to 5, and I was so bored out of my mind. I dreaded going to work, and I had thought about leaving my job and kind of
Mm,
pursuing culinary arts, but I felt like I was just stuck in like this little limbo of
mm,
not knowing where to go next. And then I got pregnant with Sequoia, and then priorities just completely
yeah.
shifted. And I quit my job with
Oh.
nothing else lined up.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. I'm going to step out here in faith and just not do this 9 to 5 anymore. That's not making me happy.
Mm,
And then a few months later, Sequoia was born, and she honestly just awakened a part of my soul that had been
mm,
dormant. And I felt like I could do anything, I could
hmm.
accomplish anything. I was on top of the world. And um, I just started taking on small jobs, baking cakes and baking cupcakes for family and for friends. And then one thing kind of led to another, and one job led to the next and the next, and so on and so forth. And I felt like really becoming a mother gave me a drive to
Mm,
succeed and get back in the habit of taking risks that my heart really believed in.
mm,
And Sequoia, she gave me that purpose and
mm,
that newfound excitement
mm,
that I could actually make this little thought of, I think I can run this business, to I know I can do this, and I know that I could be good at it and succeed.
mm.
And I mean, since then, she she has been with me in the kitchen, like ever since she was a baby.
Oh
She
my
I would put her
gosh.
in the combo seat right next to me, and she would chomp on a little wooden spoon to ease her TV,
Oh.
and
Wow.
she would watch me mix batters and help roll out fondant and cookie dough. And all of my kids now have just kind of followed that cue, and I've raised my children in my
Wow.
kitchen, basically.
That is
Um,
so cool.
so yeah, I think being a mother, just my soul just became alive, and it just kind of gave me that push that I needed.
I was going to ask you because I know you shared a little with me last time, but could you share a little background for those who don't know? Had you done any schooling as far as in the culinary arts? Had you always been baking since you were young? Like, how did you know that's where you wanted to go? Like, I love talking about our passions in life as mothers, as women. And obviously, this is one of yours. So, did you like? Was this a passion you had beforehand that you're saying got awoken once you had your first girl? Like, what did that look like for you?
So the passion has always been there for baking. I have baked my whole life. Like my mom taught me kind of the basics, but she's not a baker at all. So I learned really from like my grandmas
Mm,
and watching cooking shows.
mm.
And I've always loved baking like cakes for our family and for our friends' events. And um, in high school, I looked into pursuing culinary arts. I applied to Le Cordon Bleu.
Wow.
I got
Oh
accepted,
my
but
gosh.
I couldn't, my mind, I'm such a practical person
Yeah.
that my mind couldn't fathom paying that much money. Such a short program. It's like a 6-month program, and I'm like, I don't want to be in debt for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I put that aside and was just like, you know what? I'm just maybe not supposed to do that. And so I did other things instead. I went and I traveled after school and all the while still making cakes for people,
Wow.
but not really thinking that I would go into a career for
Yeah.
it. And then I moved back home after being overseas for a few years, and then that's when I went back into the jewelry business, and
Mm.
then got pregnant with Sequoia, and then it kind of all started from
Cool.
there.
Cool. Wow. That's insane. I love that. You have such an amazing story. And I think it's such a sweet thing to hear from you as far as your journey goes, because I know there are other moms out there that have probably a similar feeling of, wow, I just
Yeah,
had a baby. Like, I can do anything. Like, I totally can relate to that feeling. And knowing kind of how to move forward and to like honor those things that are in you that you are made to do. Um,
right.
Now I know there's like some practical side, there's a practical side of this, right? So like one of the things I like to ask, especially moms who are working or maybe own their own business like you, how do you stay inspired? Like how do you manage your time while you're raising your kids and running your business?
Oh, definitely. I think I am inspired kind of by everything around me, whether that be from following other bakers on Instagram
Mm.
or artists or just watching mom bosses around me, friends, and um, yeah, and really just watching my kids. Watching my
Mm.
kids is really a huge inspiration in itself. And following my heart and putting it into all that I do,
Mm.
that really helps me to stay passionate. Um, a few months ago, I had a cake tasting with a couple, and they had seen my work online and picked out a few designs from my website.
Mm.
And we were going over, all the details for their wedding cake, and they really liked this previous design that I had done. And and in that moment, I didn't feel creative. I didn't feel inspired.
Mm.
I was disappointed. I was disappointed that oh, sorry.
You're
Hi,
good.
baby.
Oh.
Yeah, go ask Daddy and he'll make one for you. Thank, thank you.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
Kids are hungry
I love their
again.
little voices. Oh.
Okay, where was I? My train of thought. Oh, yeah. So I didn't feel inspired. I didn't feel creative. I was disappointed that they had chosen as a design that I had already done, and they went on their way, and I didn't really think of it anything at that moment.
Mm.
But then a couple days went by, and I'm sitting in the back patio playing with Play-Doh with Sequoia and with Griffin, and they have this little ice cream um, Play-Doh set, and we were scooping Play-Doh ice cream scoops into the cones and creating little sprinkles and putting them on top, little cherries. And I noticed these molds that we were using for these Play-Doh pieces, and there was like little hearts and stars and pretzels and cherries and all of these like fun little things. And I just had this idea that went off in my head, and I messaged the bride of the cake that we had just talked about, just like, listen, I have this idea for a cake,
Oh my gosh.
and and I think that this is the wow factor that we're missing. They had
Wow.
this great design till death do us part,
Mm.
and the cake didn't really reflect that at
Mm.
all. And so I got a little ballsy and was just like,
Nice.
would you would you be okay with trusting my creative intuition and
Nice.
letting me surprise
Oh
you
my gosh.
with this idea that I have? And I'll keep the same feel, of what we talked about, but for the bottom tier, I wanted to really have that wow factor. And she, to my surprise, completely agreed and was just like, yes, go for it. I trust
Oh,
you. And I was like,
wow.
oh, this is awesome.
That's
I can't
amazing.
I can't wait. So, um,
Wow.
I I ended up falling in love with this cake that I had made, and it
Oh
was
my
this
gosh.
gorgeous moody burgundy bas relief cake with black lace and sugar
Wow.
skulls, and oh my gosh, it was so perfect. And then when I delivered this design to their wedding reception, it matched their
No
decor
way.
spot
I have
on, and
chills. That's
in ways
amazing.
that I did, like details we never discussed
No
at
way.
their cake tasting. Like my cake went
Oh
perfectly with their
my
theme, and
gosh.
to think that this had all it was inspired by playing with Play-Doh with my
Wow.
kids. It just it just blew me away because inspiration and passion really
Yeah.
is invoked in our daily routine of life, and we
Yes.
just have to be open to saying yes and going with our gut
Oh,
intuition, just kind of going for
I
it. So
love that.
I,
Wow.
it's so fun.
Ugh, what
It's
a
fun.
great story. Oh my gosh.
I just love doing that. I love taking things from my family and from playing with my kids and from taking walks in nature and just applying that
Mm,
into what you're doing and what you're creating, and it makes all the
yes.
difference, and people appreciate that
Oh,
and they love
yeah.
it in
Well,
the end.
and isn't it true? Like, I guess it just kind of speaks to like that childlike wonder, like that is awakened to
Yes.
with when having kids and raising kids, like that is such an important piece
Oh,
that like
definitely.
moves us forward and keeps us like yeah inspired and excited and
And not boxed in
yes
by our what our industry's
yeah
norm
yeah
is. I mean, who uses Play-Doh molds to
yes.
create wedding cakes? I mean, it's just not heard of.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
So
That's so
it really
cool.
is thinking outside of the box and just kind of looking at things like you said with
Mm-hmm.
that childlike wide-eyed wonder.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
it's so
that is so great. I love that. What a sweet story. I like literally had chills and I'm not gonna lie, I totally went on your Instagram to see if there were pictures. Do you have any of
ah,
those?
that's secret.
Do you
I
have
love that cake.
you do have pictures?
I do. I do.
Okay.
They're all on there. It's this. So it's a wedding cake and it has a burgundy bottom tier and it's got these. It was a Halloween
Oh,
kind
okay,
of
okay.
cake. So it's got skulls and
Oh
cheese
yeah.
and
I remember
sisters.
oh my gosh, yes. It's amazing. Oh my gosh. And now I'm seeing the molds and every or like
Right?
just oh my okay guys. You guys have to go check out our Instagram right now and go see that. It's so cool.
Oh,
Links in the bio. Yeah, that's amazing. I love it.
so, so
Um
fun.
how perfect. Oh, so good. Okay, so I also wanted to ask you a little bit about like time management because I know like from what I've heard from you and what I've experienced is like you are so good at protecting your family and time. It's at least that's what it seems like to me and what you know
Yeah.
just having those boundaries. I remember when we talked last time too, you had been like invited to go on like Food Network or something to do some stuff and I'm like,
Yeah.
"What? You turned that down? Like, and it had to, you like turned it down like a couple times, right? Like,
I did, yeah.
that's so amazing. Like, just knowing your boundaries, knowing yourself. So, how do you do that? Like, how do you even, where do you start? Like, if you're somebody that's like, okay, I've got this thing I need to pursue or want to pursue, but I don't want my family to come, you know, to suffer, you
Sure.
know, in the process.
Yeah. I just listen to that inner voice in my soul, and I know my limits. And I think that's really important as a mom, is to know how much you really can take on, because we try so hard so many times to do everything, and we simply can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
We simply can't do everything. And so knowing your limits is really great, because it kind of forces you to take care of yourself, and to know how much you can handle and how much your family can handle. And for time management, I honestly I know how many orders I can fulfill in a week. And sometimes I take on one or two more than I know I should, but it's because I'm excited to do them.
Yeah.
So I feel like that makes up for it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I only take on a certain amount, and I take lots and lots of breaks. I take so many breaks throughout the day, because my kids need me to. They need to eat. They need, sometimes, they get hurt or they fight, and so I need to take a break, and I need to diffuse the situation. I need to pour out hugs and kisses and love. And yeah, it's really vital, I feel, for when you are working at home, to have grace on your work environment and on yourself, and let it be an open place for your kids to be with you. I think that is super important. Just letting them have that time when you're doing, like, I invite my kids into the kitchen for the most part. I mean, there are times when I'm doing very intricate details, and I'm like, okay, honey, you're up.
Yeah.
You're on kid duty.
Totally.
I need you to step in, because I have to get this done, and I can't have little hands.
Yeah.
That. But for the most part, they're there with me. They're helping me measure out ingredients, and they're rolling out fondant. My daughter loves working with fondant, so she will get out her little Play-Doh set and roll out pieces of fondant and make, her own little creations while I'm making my own cakes. So that's super fun to do together.
Wow.
But I think the key is being flexible in your time, and protecting your space, protecting your family, protecting yourself. It's super important.
Yes, that's so good. Such wisdom. I also like to ask moms, how do you take care of your heart in the day-to-day, and raising your kids and all of that? Like, how do you make space for yourself, and how do you tune into your heart and its needs and stuff?
Yeah, this is one of my New Year's resolutions.
That's awesome.
Because I go through seasons. I go through seasons where I'm really, really good at it. I'm really good at taking care of myself. And then I go through other seasons where it kind of just gets put on the back burner.
Sure.
And then I get burnt out, and I'm like crying in a ball on the floor, and I don't know why. And it's all because of self-care and taking care of yourself. And again, knowing your limits is key to self-care. When I'm feeling stressed, then I will have my husband step in. I'll take a bath. I'll get a good book out. I'll, get my Epsom salt in there, and I'll refill my cup that has been drained. And I'm such a introverted person that I need my alone time. So, and I can't always get that.
Yeah.
three small children
Oh,
and having a husband who works full time and then my
wow.
full-time job as well. So
Yeah.
it's really hard for me to get that alone time. But when I do, I'm like a different person completely.
Wow. Yes.
Night and day. I'm like, oh, hello,
Yeah.
family. I have died.
Oh my gosh.
and I I do. I have a therapist and
Mm,
we have sessions together and
nice.
she helps me to unfold, everything that's going on in
So
my
good.
daily life and that has been
Oh,
such a game changer for me. That has
yes.
been so tremendously helpful to have someone kind of help me to sort
Mm,
out
mm-hmm,
my
mm-hmm.
thoughts and
Totally.
put them into practice. That's been amazing life
Mm.
change. So I have that, and I have dates with my girlfriends. Yes,
Nice.
baby. What do you need?
You don't have a date with your
Oh my
Not
gosh.
right now, but I do.
but I hear that.
Yeah, you did hear
Oh
that.
my word.
Mommy's talking right now. I know you can't see anything on the screen, but
Hi.
Mommy's having a conversation with Bree. Can you say hi?
Hi,
Hi. Who is this? Which?
What's your name?
Sequoia.
Hi, Sequoia.
Hi.
You're being so sweet.
Okay,
Aw.
give me kisses, and then I need you to go back out with Daddy. Okay?
Okay, but Dad's in the bathroom, but he just takes the whole toilet out.
I took the whole toilet out.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we're having plumbing
Oh
issues
yeah.
right now. So the toilet is being fixed.
Ah, that's so funny.
Okay, go back with Daddy, and so I can chat with Bree. Okay?
But now we can't go potty.
Yeah, you kind of gotta hold that potty now, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have a little potty you can go in if you need to.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Oh
It's okay.
my gosh. That's like my favorite thing when the kids like on any episode I've done, I like love it when
It's
I hear the kids. So
it's so inevitable.
oh yeah. Well, and what mom doesn't want to hear that kind of stuff, like knowing
I know.
like, oh, you're not alone. Like
No, you're not. We have plumbing issues, and here we go.
yes.
Our toilet is completely out of the,
That's the
of the thing,
best.
apparently. But okay, back on
Oh,
track. Taking care of ourselves. Yeah,
yes.
girl dates. Going and getting massages.
Oh,
Goodness, going and having. Me and my friend went and had a beach walk. Like 2 weeks ago, and that was
oh,
just
wow.
that in itself
Oh,
just like completely refuels
oh my
me.
gosh. That sounds amazing right
It's
now.
Yes,
Ah,
it's so awesome. So I think just really setting aside time to take care of yourself. I signed up for a macrame workshop at the end of
oh,
next month
very
that
cool.
I am so excited for.
Nice.
Um, yeah, just kind of doing things that is again going to inspire you and going to pour into your cup and because we are giving constantly, we're constantly draining our cups
Yeah.
and it's just the everyday life. It's being a mom. It's giving your whole heart and soul to your family, to your business, to your husband, to everything around you. So
Yeah.
you do have to make time for you to fill up and take care of yourself and
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I got a new water bottle.
Ooh, that's fancy.
And one of my other goals is to stay hydrated because if I'm not hydrated, I
Yes.
feel
Oh my
terrible.
gosh, it's
So
so true.
that's
Especially during the
another one.
winter.
Yes. It's so bad. I was not drinking enough water at all. So that was a huge part of it.
I totally like got hit with that
Sorry.
like in the past couple months with breastfeeding. Like I had somebody
Oh
warn
gosh, yes.
me before I
Yes.
started breastfeeding, like just so you know, you're gonna have crazy thirst when you
Yep.
start breastfeeding. And yeah, I'm totally with you. If I don't stay hydrated, I'm like another person. It's the same as if
Oh
I
yeah.
if I don't have enough sleep or food.
Or
It's like
food. Food.
cranky
I'm a
pants.
monster. Don't you dare come near me if I haven't
I know.
eaten.
Oh my
I will
gosh.
bite that off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I am that hangry person.
Oh, same. So, so true. But it's true though, right? Because you're like giving out so much energy. Like, I feel like, yeah, those are super important.
practical things
Yes.
really make a difference. Your sleep,
Yeah.
your hydration, your
Uh-huh.
eating well,
Yeah.
everything.
Well, and
It
I
really
have like a
does.
lot of emotion and like do a lot like based on like what I'm feeling, which isn't always great, but I have to go through like the mental checklist of like, okay, what's going on in my body?
Right.
What needs to be tended to physically, because that may be the problem, and then I can go to, okay, no, everything's checked off here, then asking my heart like, okay, is there something you need, that kind of stuff. So totally.
Those questions are
Yeah.
so important.
Yeah.
They're so
Yeah.
important. And and they really do. You have to keep on asking yourself them on a daily
Yeah, no,
basis.
totally. It's like hour to hour sometimes.
Yeah. Because I mean, in my seasons where I'm not doing those questions is when I do get burned out
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like
Same.
a total wreck,
Oh,
emotional mess.
yes. I feel you.
And everything around me suffers from that. My poor
Yeah.
family, my work is not as good.
Yeah.
Like everything, it affects everything around
Yeah.
you when you're not on your A game, when you're not.
Yeah.
So
So
it's so
true.
important to take care of yourself.
Mm. Good words. Awesome. Okay. Have you experienced mom guilt? And if so, how do you overcome it?
Yes, are you kidding me?
It's kind of like a joke to even ask this question
It
anymore.
really
I
is.
just need to say, like, so what's your mom guilt like? What's mom guilt like for you?
I think lately, we were struggling a lot with just our kids acting out, and I had to ask those questions. Why are they throwing fits? Why are they whining? Why are they um, just being mean and fighting with each other?
Mm,
And it all came back to my husband and I figuring out that okay, we need to be spending more time with them. Like we need to be more intentional. We need to be giving them more of ourselves because I got so wrapped up like in my work like around the holidays that
mm,
when they needed something, I wasn't really there to give them that attention.
mm,
And my mom guilt went like from 0 to 100
mm. Oh.
in 30 seconds.
Oh.
And and that's when I picked up a book, and I've had this book on my bedside for probably the past 9 months,
My
and
gosh.
I hadn't gotten to it yet, but it has changed everything. It has
Mm,
changed our our whole atmosphere in our
wow.
house,
Wow.
and our kids and me and my husband, we are like blooming into these different people because of the advice that we have. And this is the Whole Brain Child and No Drama Discipline
Nice.
by Daniel Segal and Tina Payne. And um, it's just a completely different outlook on how we interact with our kids and
Wow.
how their brains aren't fully developed and how their their upstairs brain interacts with their downstairs brain and how
Mm,
your primitive brain and it takes over when you're a child and
mm,
you need ways to connect that back with your
mm,
logical brain and doing simple things like coming down to their eye level and
mm.
when they're having a meltdown and welcoming them into your arms instead of telling them to stop
Yeah.
overreacting or it's it's just the red fork instead of the blue fork that we're
Mm,
using today. You shouldn't be acting this way over fork. Instead
mm.
of saying that and devaluing them,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you know what? I'm so sorry that your blue fork is dirty right now, but I have this red fork for you.
Yeah.
And we'll wash that fork right now. Let's get that blue fork for you. And it's honestly, it's changing everything. Like
Wow.
it's changing the way we discipline our kids. discipline, as we all know, comes from the word disciple, which disciple
Mm.
teach. It doesn't necessarily mean
Yeah.
punishment.
Yeah. That's so good.
And our I feel like we have been on kind of this autopilot of going, okay, you didn't act out in the best way, so now you get a timeout.
Mm.
And instead of looking at the whys
Mm-hmm.
and the hows
Mm-hmm.
and figuring out, okay, why are they acting this way? Are they hungry? Are they tired? Are
Mm.
um do they need that extra cuddle? Do they feel neglected? Do they need more
Mm.
attention than what we're giving them? Asking all of these questions and connecting with
That's
them.
so good.
It's so different now. It's so different. And I feel like a different person using these techniques now. Like I am not, blowing up and getting mad at them for them having a meltdown or a tantrum,
Mm.
hitting their brother or sister. Like it's created more understanding in myself, and I just, oh my gosh, I couldn't recommend this book more
Yeah.
as a parent of young babies,
That sounds
because
amazing.
it seriously is so awesome. Yeah,
Because that sounds
it,
really good.
it's so good.
Well, and
It's
it sounds like
good.
it's like recognizing they have a checklist too, just like we do.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's so good.
Exactly. And I was talking to my husband about this, and I'm like, and it kind of goes over the scenario like in the book, like when we're upset and we're having a bad day, and the last thing we need is for someone to be like, well, that really wasn't that big of a deal. You should really get over that
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Like, go on time out, go sit in the corner and think
Mm.
about what you've been doing,
Mm.
and that's the last thing you want to hear.
Yeah.
You feel so misunderstood and like no one cares. And
Yeah.
for my child to be feeling that way when I tell them to go on timeout and sit there
Yeah.
and not talk to anyone, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm crushing my child's spirit. Like
Mm.
I'm telling them that their feelings don't matter, and
Mm.
that um they need to be, have it together
Mm.
all the time. And that is not the message I want to be sending to my
Mm.
kids.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to know that they can have a complete meltdown and mommy and daddy will be right here for them.
Mm.
And our arms are always going to be open. And I didn't think of that before. I
Mm.
didn't think of that before when I was telling them to go on timeout.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm thinking too, like in any moms like listening to this, and I don't know any mom who wouldn't feel the same way, but
Yes,
I know like I'm gonna mess up, and we all mess up,
of
and
course.
don't know really sometimes what to do even. So I just want to say, like, if you're out there and hearing this and are getting excited, but also maybe feeling mom guilt about maybe you've done this recently, like there's no shame,
There's
and
no
there
shame.
are tools to like work through this, and that's the
Definitely.
point, like it's a journey.
Yes.
I
And
Yeah.
we're learning so much, and that's why community is so important for us,
Yes.
talking about these things with one
Yeah,
another and sharing
absolutely.
our real life
Mm.
experiences, because things aren't perfect all the
Mm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
When you find something that works for you, oh my gosh, share it.
Yes, totally. Yes.
Please.
So good.
So if you're struggling like we were, and we still do, this is a fantastic resource, and I could
Good.
not recommend this book anymore.
Oh,
So
perfect. Awesome.
yeah, it's helped out completely with us.
Cool. Okay, cool. And
Okay.
I love to talk about legacy too. So that kind of even plays into legacy. But what do you guys think about when you want to leave, when you leave your kids, like what kind of heritage do you want them to like hold on to and continue?
Yeah, for it's like such a hard and easy thing at the same time. I would love to leave behind for my children, just to fight for the desires of their hearts. I
Mm,
mean, it's kind of what I have been doing for oh my gosh, the past 15 years and or longer really. But yeah, just to fight for the desires of your heart and to remember that God gave you those desires for a reason. And no matter how anyone else views your desires, your dreams, and tells you that they're impossible or they can't be done, I say to just turn a deaf ear to that.
Yes.
and 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 know that God has put, these desires in our hearts. Um and I'm all about just dreaming big, going against the grain, and we'll be able to figure it out along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you do go for your dreams, it not only awakens a part of your soul as well, but it puts you into the place where you are supposed to be. And just because it seems impossible to someone else doesn't mean it's impossible for you.
Yeah.
And you can be completely going against that grain and thinking outside of the box and going where no one else has gone before to bring you into your destiny. And when you follow your dreams, you follow your heart, you follow your desires, you will be left in this humongous accomplishment, and you'll feel alive and you'll feel like you can do anything. And it's because you are listening to that small, quiet voice inside of you, and
So good.
you're not listening to all of the negative, the negativity that comes along with that. And I want my kids to be able to do that. My parents were really supportive of me going against the grain and not going to college. I knew when I was in school that I didn't want to continue. I knew I didn't want to do what everyone else was doing. And I feel like 15 years ago, like that wasn't.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Every one of my friends and peers went to college.
Wow.
That's what you did.
Wow. Yeah, totally.
Nowadays, it's much more acceptable to do other things.
Right.
But back then, it was like, what?
Yeah.
and I went and I traveled and I did mission work instead. And that paved the way for me to go against the grain when I felt that my heart was telling me what to do. And I just want my kids to be able to follow in the footsteps of that and leave behind their own wonderful legacy that they have, because I know that they will be doing much more than I could have ever done.
That is so great. I love that. Oh, Sydney, this has been so good. I'm so thankful for you taking the time to do this. And before we wrap up, I like to ask some fun questions. So yeah, let's just dive in.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So the first would be, do you have a favorite product for yourself or for your kiddos that you feel like you could not live without in this season? P.S. My Bobby is sitting on my lap, so you might hear little noises.
Hi, Bobby. We're not really product people, honestly. I make pretty much all of our. I make everything.
Wow.
We don't. We're not really gadget people. I think maybe the things that I would be lost without are my essential oils.
Yes.
I use those on a daily basis. So when I am feeling a little frazzled, then I whip out my balance and I balance myself. I balance the kids. It's sorry for you who don't know what balance is. It's an essential oil blend called Balance. And it really does. It helps change my current mood
so cool.
into just feeling more grounded. And
perfect.
I have another one called Elevation. And if I'm going somewhere that with a lot of people, like parties or even grocery shopping, because I'm such an introvert, Elevation helps lift my mood set and makes me like super chatty.
Dude, I need that because I'm totally introverted too, and I get overwhelmed. Like, going out at, that's
So I put
amazing.
balance on, and then I put on this elevation blend, and I am like,
Dude.
okay, I can do this. I can talk to
Oh
people
my
without feeling
gosh.
nervous.
Wow.
I could totally do this.
Dude, I'm totally looking into that because I need some of that stuff.
Oh, it's awesome. So I use those, and then I use my lavender essential oil on my kids every single night at bedtime, and that helps them sleep.
So good. It's so like, and it's natural too.
And it's all natural, and you can't overdose on it, and it's
Yes.
awesome. So, I mean, there is obviously safe ways to use them.
Sure.
So just read those up. But I don't think I could do what I do without my oils.
Yeah, no, I totally feel you. Oils are bomb. That's great. That's a great product.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and then do you guys have like a favorite holiday family tradition that you'd like to share?
We're always looking for new ones, honestly.
Oh,
I mean,
cool.
like we have our go-to family traditions, but we're always kind of adding to our list. I'd say Christmas cookie decorating, we always do. Um,
Nice.
we did gingerbread houses this year.
Oh.
So fun. Um, oh gosh, what else do we do? We have a magical bean garden and Easter
What?
time.
That sounds amazing.
So, so the day before Easter, the Easter Bunny delivers these magical beans to our house,
Okay.
and they're just a bag full of jelly beans. We go in the backyard and we plant them in our garden. And on Easter morning, we go out, and there's like all of these lollipops and like
Oh
magical,
my gosh.
awesome, whimsical candies that have popped out of the ground.
That is genius. Oh, did you come up with that?
No, this is like a Pinterest
What?
idea.
That's amazing. That's like perfect for you guys too. I mean, just with all
But
you do.
they get so excited, and to see their little faces just light up at the magic of the beans popping into these funny little suckers, like it's just the cutest thing you've ever seen before.
I'm definitely doing that. Totally stealing
So,
that.
yeah, that's a few of our traditions. I
Oh,
don't know, we're always adding to ours because I love having family traditions so much, and we're starting
yes.
one. We did camping in the redwoods. I told Aaron, I said, we are going to be
Oh,
doing this every year. If we can't do it every year, then it has to be every other year.
oh my
But
gosh. That
that
is,
is that's our newest family tradition that we have started.
I cannot wait to do something like that. Somebody else I talked to recently did like camping trips, and I'm like, that's so smart, especially if, because traveling's so expensive, flights, like it's just kind of crazy, but that's such a great, I mean, and for us that live in California, like we have everything,
Everything.
and it's like stupid not to go camping in California
Yes,
somewhere.
seriously. You got the beach, you got the
Yeah,
mountains, you got the
everything.
desert. I mean, everything. So, and camping is just so much fun with the kids. It's so much fun.
Oh,
So
I
they
love
just have
that.
ball.
Very
It's,
cool.
right now, they've been camping out in their bedroom.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's kind of one of those like things that at first my like organized mom self
Yeah.
has been like, this is disaster.
Yeah.
Your room is a mess. What is going on?
Oh my word.
Because seriously, like for the past 2 weeks, I think it has been now,
Hmm.
every night they don't want to sleep in their beds. They want to sleep on the floor. And I make their beds on the floor.
Oh my God.
And
You're such a good mom. That is the cutest thing ever.
it's cute in theory.
Yeah.
I had to get over the fact that the room is just constantly a disaster.
Yeah.
I just had to let it go and be like, okay, what are they going to remember about this? Are they
Oh.
going to remember how neat and tidy their room is because mom made them clean up? Or
Wow.
are they going to remember the super fun times where they got to camp out and have a slumber party on their bedroom floor? So I'm like,
Dude,
okay,
amazing.
resist the inner urge to have everything be in its place
Yeah.
and kids be kids.
That you just like preached to me right now, because I've totally like, I'm definitely like love things clean and organized, and Like the aesthetic part of it is like what's most
Exactly.
pleasing to me, but like getting married definitely like punched that in the gut. And
Uh-huh.
I'm sure as I continue to have kids, it will grow. But I love that looking back on like, hey, what do we want them to remember? Like
Yeah.
us like yelling at them for not
Yeah.
cleaning up their room or whatever. Yeah. My husband would be very fond of that way of thinking.
Oh. It's a struggle. Like every time I walk by the room, I'm just like,
Oh, yeah.
what?
Yeah.
And we'll go in there every day and we'll clean up, like the toys part, but
Sure.
the beds part, I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
here we go. And I know, you know what? This isn't gonna last forever. Like
Totally.
they're only little once, and
Yes.
so I really want to I really want them to be little as long as possible.
Yes.
So
That's so sweet.
think of my neurotic cleaning self can wait.
Yes. Word. So good.
My goodness.
Well, you've already given us a ton of advice already, but do you have like one piece of advice that you'd give a new mom?
Ooh, new mommies. I still feel like I'm a new mom. 5 years into this, I'm like, I still have so much to learn. I would say, just do you. Just.
Oh yeah, Bobby.
Oh,
So
hi, baby.
she agrees with that.
Stop comparing yourself. Stop comparing yourself. Stop comparing your kids, your family, your friends to your other friends or your people on social media or anywhere, and just kind of figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
I think the really important thing is to have grace. Have grace on yourself, and understand that you're doing the best that you can. I think I've come to realize that I will most likely always be living in the messy middle, and there will always be dirty dishes in my sink, laundry to fold, crumbs to vacuum up, and oatmeal, mud, hay, spit up. Everything will always be on my yoga pants.
Yeah.
Every day, all day long. And you know what? That's just fine with me. And my life will never look perfect, and it may look like a chaos compared to other people. But it's what works for us.
Yeah.
And I think that, there'll be those times when you are exhausted physically, mentally, emotionally, and you just want to curl up in a ball and cry your eyes out and you feel like you just can't do this mom thing anymore. We've all been there. We've all done it. And you just have to let go. Just let it go. Cry for as long as you need to cry.
Yeah, that's good.
Take a deep breath or 5.
Yeah.
And just having grace on yourself, you really conquer anything. You can. And life is messy, and that's okay. It's okay. Find out what works for you, and you carry on, and you be transparent, and you be open, and that will change everything.
Yes. So good, Sydney. Thank you for that and for this whole chat. I'm so grateful that you would take time out to talk with me. Thank you.
Of course. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be able to connect with another mom and to just kind of share our life experiences. And I am more than happy to take time out of my schedule to do that.
Oh, well, thank you.
Moms, we need this. We need this.
Yes.
We need to talk about our real life experiences and learn from one another and have that sense of community, because it's so important when you're a mom that you need to connect with other moms.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, I've learned that even the hard way moments this, first 6 months of her life. So yeah, totally. So grateful and so thankful. And that is the goal of this podcast, just to build that community and camaraderie too. So
awesome.
yeah. Oh, well, awesome. Okay. And like we mentioned earlier, we'll have all of the links to your social media accounts so people can go and see who
Right.
you are and what you do and all that good stuff. But yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
Of course. I'm off to now go bake some weather cakes.
Oh, nice. Can't wait to see them on Instagram at some point, hopefully.
All right. Thank you so much, Bree.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It was such a pleasure to have you listen in. If you'd like more information about this guest and other guests, you can check that out on Facebook and Instagram at mommyspace. And you can also email me at mommyspace@gmail.com if you want more details or have any questions or would just like to get in touch. I'm always looking for new connections. Also, it would mean so much if you could leave us either a rating or review or both on iTunes. This just gets the word out about the show. It's a way that we can get more connected with more mamas out there. And it really helps me out as I am doing this on my own. And sometimes I just need a little lift up, y'all. It's good to hear from you that way. Thank you so much again for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing week. Remember, you are loved, you are enough, and you are doing your very best. See you next week, Mama.